Trump's mass deportation operation is set to begin. He plans to start by focusing on undocumented immigrants with criminal histories.
The worst first. It's the criminals first.
Absolutely. It's the worst first.
There is reporting that the people that were sent, the majority of them, they have no criminal records whatsoever.
They're junking up our country, and it's our country.
Trump administration has deported even more children who are U.S. citizens.
The kids were just anchors for more illegal immigration.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know.
It's not about due process. It's about them being incapable of empathizing for American citizens.
They would rather you die or be raped than Trump be right.
So shit's getting dark. Hi, I'm Mae Weber, and I'm a professional Fox News watcher. And for the past few months, I've been watching conservative media get increasingly more extreme on the topic of deportation. From arguing against due process for immigrants,
If we're going to give every these guys a day in court and a lawyer, we can't do it. They don't deserve it.
to defending the deportation of innocent children,
They were going to our schools, using our hospitals.
to fantasizing about building our own CCOT-style mega prison here in the U.S.
These maximum security prisons.
Right.
If we did that here in America, maybe the crime would go down even more.
Conservatives have gotten much more extreme on immigration over the past few decades. But it wasn't always like this. Back in 1980, Ronald Reagan was opposed to even a fence at the southern border.
Rather than putting up a fence, why don't we work out some recognition of our mutual problems?
In this same debate, his opponent, George W. Bush, sounded like a current-day moderate Democrat.
I'd like to see something done about the illegal alien problem that would be so sensitive and so understanding about labor needs and human needs.
In the 2000s, his son, George W. Bush, would become known for his, quote, compassionate conservatism on immigration.
We must also find a sensible and humane way to deal with people here illegally. Illegal immigration is complicated, and it must be resolved in a way that upholds both our laws and our highest ideals.
But you don't even need to look back that far to see how much conservatives have changed their tune on immigration. Just 10 years ago, conservatives were still claiming they wanted a humane immigration policy.
Mass deportation is a plan some of Trump's fellow Republicans call unrealistic.
Think about the families. Think about the children.
Even having this conversation sends a powerful signal. They're doing high fives in the Clinton campaign right now when they hear this.
So what the fuck happened? How did American conservatives go from do something understanding and sensitive to deport them all, including the babies, and send the rest to a mega prison? To answer that, we need to go back to 2015. So let's set the scene. These are the days of the dress debate, left shark, and even the birth of the Snapchat dog filter. But it's also when we started hearing Trump say stuff like this.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists.
Trump launched his 2016 campaign with a pretty extreme stance on immigration, calling for an end to birthright citizenship.
14th Amendment is very questionable as to whether or not somebody can come over, have a baby, and immediately that baby is a citizen.
Building the wall at the southern border.
We're going to build a wall. It's going to be built.
And explicitly endorsing mass deportations.
You're rounding them all up. We're rounding them up in a very humane way, in a very nice way.
Even though Trump was clear in his goals, mainstream news networks were in denial, claiming his actual immigration plan had to be way more nuanced or specific.
Campaign officials out there today not offering much, if any, clarity on what exactly his stance is on these mass deportations.
Trump has been unclear about what exactly his plans are.
It's still unclear exactly what Trump's position will be.
So eventually Trump did clarify, claiming he was only going to go after people with criminal records. And those same news outlets just took him at his word.
Donald Trump is defending his latest stand on deporting illegal immigrants, now saying he'll focus on criminals.
Trump would not explain what that process was or how it would work, but he no longer insists it includes raids, arrests, and lengthy deportation proceedings.
As Vox's Dara Lind wrote in 2016, the media really loves the idea that Donald Trump is changing his position on immigration. While some of his closest advisors have worked hard to persuade the press it's not really as harsh as it seems, everybody in Trump's inner circle appears to agree on the key points of the candidate's actual plan. Moderates and political reporters have the luxury to feel that Donald Trump might not deport the good people. Immigrants themselves themselves do not. But these outlets didn't just fall for Trump's lie, they helped amplify it. News outlets repeatedly used extreme anti-immigrant groups as sources in their stories.
Jessica Vaughn is with the Center for Immigration Studies.
There are certain types of crime that are very closely associated with illegal immigration.
As reported by the Southern Poverty Law Center, CIS was founded by a white nationalist and has a long history of fear-mongering about immigrants.
The Center for Immigration Studies, for example, will distribute essays from Holocaust deniers.
But it was still quoted over and over in news segments about Trump's immigration plan.
Center for Immigration Studies.
Center for Immigration Studies.
The Center for Immigration Studies. And the author of the book, The New Case Against Immigration, Both Legal and Illegal.
In the end, though, all of this immigrant crime stuff turned out to be a scam.
President Trump promised to deport criminals, but 42% of them had never committed any crime.
While the Trump administration was prioritizing prosecutions of migrant parents, separating families, and banning asylum, it also released criminals, including those who went on to commit crimes.
This is not the bad hombres that Donald Trump campaigned about.
Now, you would think that after Trump's first term, the media would learn to stop taking Trump's bait. You'd think that they'd learn that immigrant crime is just a smokescreen to distract from the right's anti-immigrant agenda. But the opposite happened.
A caravan of migrants coming up from Central America.
A caravan of migrants.
The border crisis becomes a backyard crisis.
We have a crisis at the southern border.
Over the next few years, our research showed the more Fox News talked about immigration, the more other networks would too. As Fox began to describe a crisis at the southern border,
this happening on our southern border right now, what is going on is an absolute crisis.
Other cable news networks started to adopt the same framing.
We want to turn now to the border crisis.
There is a crisis at the border.
Let me ask you about the border crisis.
In the lead up to 2024, Fox was airing roughly 7 immigrant crime stories a day, and mainstream news networks were falling for it, echoing the same talking points Fox News had been feeding them.
Do we remember the name Kate Steinle?
Kate Steinle in San Francisco.
What happened to Ruby Garcia?
Ruby Garcia, killed by an undocumented immigrant.
Which brings us to Laken Riley.
Laken Riley, the 22-year-old nursing student from Georgia who was killed on a college campus by someone who entered the country illegally.
By the time Trump was running again, many news commentators paid very little attention to Trump's actual immigration policy.
When I'm reelected, we will begin the largest deportation operation in American history.
At the Republican National Convention, they were literally handing out mass deportation now signs, and mainstream news outlets were barely even mentioning it. ABC spent 1 minute on Trump's mass deportation plan, and CBS and NBC spent only 15 seconds each. But once Trump is reelected, the right's mask comes off, and it's shocking how quickly conservative media changes their talking points. At the start of his second term, Trump still claims he's only deporting criminals, and Fox cheers him on.
Executing the strategy to perfection. The worst go first.
Pretty soon, it's reported that a lot of the people being deported haven't committed crimes, but Fox covers, claiming they must be associated with criminals.
The only non-violent criminals they've rounded up for deportation were those hanging out with the violent criminals.
Then it's reported that students are being deported for speaking out against the government, and Fox says that's totally fine.
Look, free speech, I thought, under our laws and Constitution was for our citizens.
Then it turns out that innocent children are being deported, and Fox says that's totally fine too.
What happened to truth and consequences and blind justice?
When it's reported that immigrants are being sent to a brutal prison camp, Fox says that's also fine.
Kudos to the Trump administration for carrying out this deportation.
When the administration argues that immigrants shouldn't even get due process, Fox is once again on board.
I'm so sick of hearing about due process for people who are in our country illegally. They're not citizens. They do not have the due process accorded American citizens.
It's hard to overstate just how rapid and absolute this evolution has been. For years, conservatives were claiming that they only want to deport criminals, but over the last few months, they've completely changed their tune. And to really drill this point home, I want to focus in on one conservative in particular, Fox anchor Harris Faulkner. Harris, I watch your show every day. I'm a huge fan.
The Lord has determined I am a woman, and my pronouns are USA.
Faulkner was a large contributor to the migrant crime wave narrative. A study we did found that the Faulkner Focus was the news show with the most skewed coverage of crime focused on supposed migrant perpetrators on the network, with 85% of the 13 crimes reported on the show featuring migrant suspects during the time period studied.
Number one thing, like you didn't even get here legally, and then they get to do more crime against us.
A later Media Matters study found that Faulkner ran 79 segments on migrant crime in the first 7 months of 2024.
Border crisis has just left a family of 5 children without their mother.
At the start of Trump's second term, Faulkner claimed he was still focused on deporting criminals.
Looking to boot out the worst first, the violent criminals.
When it was reported that only about half of those who had been deported had criminal records, Faulkner just started to skew the numbers.
These are illegal immigrants in our country committing crimes, either known about in their previous country or it's happened here.
A few days later, she was just excusing the deportation of pregnant women and children.
From some of those early flights to Colombia that it included pregnant women, it included children.
Did they come over illegally?
It included...
By the end of the month, Faulkner was just straight up asking how we can deport kids.
That's against our soul if we don't protect little ones, no matter where they come from. And if they need to be sent back, how do we do that?
By March, Faulkner joined the chorus of Fox News voices who were applauding Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act, which was denying immigrants their right to due process.
They don't have the same rights as we do as citizens to that justice system. USA.
So what should we make of all of this? The right's hard pivot on immigration may look surprising, but for those of us who have been watching conservative media for years, it's not. Fox has been pushing the Great Replacement conspiracy theory and anti-multiculturalism garbage for years.
If Americans aren't having babies, why can't we just have more babies? Why do we have to bring in foreigners to have the babies that we won't have?
A study we published last year found that Fox's highest rated evening programs spread white nationalist rhetoric in nearly half of their segments about immigration.
I have less political power because they're importing a brand new electorate. Why should I sit back and take that?
Another study from 2021 found that Fox News peddled racist myths about migrants and the immigration system in nearly 700 segments over a 3-month period.
Migrants are exploding all inside our country like IEDs. It feels like a terror attack to me.
The right's true feelings about immigrants have been out in the open. The problem is that traditional media hasn't wanted to acknowledge it, playing dumb on Trump's immigration plan or just repeating bullshit claims about migrant crime.
It's not like Donald Trump who made up stuff. This is real.
And it won't end with immigrants. We are already seeing citizens being swallowed up by this mass surveillance operation under the guise of Trump's mass deportation.
We also have homegrown criminals, absolute monsters. I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country.
And conservative media are already preparing to defend those deportations too.
Are we going to pretend that there aren't plenty of American citizens who shouldn't be deported to El Salvador as well?
Fear-mongering about immigrants has always been a pretext for rolling back civil liberties. And the longer we ignore what's happening on the right, the easier it will be for them to extend their cruelty onto the rest of us.